Hi, I'm Drew.
And I'm Sam.
And welcome to Drewling Samantics. Hello, mate. How you doing?
I'm good. Cheers, buddy. You all right?
Yeah, all good, all good. How's your week been?
Yeah, all good. What about yours?
Yeah, lovely. Thank you, mate. Lovely. I tell you what, we have asked each other that so many times over the past few weeks.
You're not kidding. Actually feels a bit weird, doesn't it, that season 1 of Drewling Samantics is almost at an end.
Yeah.
But don't worry, listeners and viewers, we are not feeling down in the slightest, are we, Drew?
Certainly not, mate. I mean, we've had an absolute blast doing it, and hopefully everyone at home has enjoyed it just as much. We've had such a lot of laughs, and I tell you what, we've definitely had some amazing guests join us as well.
Yes, indeed. And with that in mind, lovely subscribers, this week we thought we'd have a bit of a change in format and bring you something a little bit different.
Absolutely. We decided that before season 1 takes its curtain call, that we'd revisit some of our favourite highlights. So please join us and relive the most interesting and funny moments from our brilliant season 1 guests, Darren Tassell, Julianne Watling-McCarthy, and Mark Johnston.
And I guess there might be a little bit of us in there as well.
Oh, of course, Sam. Oh, Sam, have you got the necessary?
Ready and waiting, mate. Cheers, everyone.
Cheers.
I guess to start us off then, could you please tell us a bit about you, your career, and how you started or why you started the stunt team?
I started in stunts about 20 years ago. And that was my first journey into sort of the training and getting pulled into jobs with the guys that were on it, because I was part of the way through my training at that point. And it was one of those things that I'd always wanted to be a stuntman since a child. Even to the point where at school, the careers officer says, "What do you want to be when you leave school?" And I said, "Stuntman." They said, "Well, no, what do you really want to be when you leave school?" I said, "Stuntman." So they just didn't have a clue. So I eventually got my chance to get into the industry, but then very quickly ended up going independent. So we set up the team purely because I felt that I wanted to go around things a different way. I came at it from a background of a very high-grade martial arts system, and then I was a professional bodyguard before I got into stunts. So the firearms training and the guns, the firearms training and the vehicle drills and all that sort of thing. It tailed into sort of action, really. All that sort of training was something that I enjoyed and working in that industry. But it was never really what I wanted. Stunts was what I wanted. So after my training and getting on a few big films and realizing actually I wanted to go around things a bit of a different way, set up independent, and we set up the team purely because as an independent I was out there working on my own, just going on to jobs quite happily, enjoying my job. But then I thought, well, actually I want to share this with like-minded people that sort of want to go the same route I do, and set up a real family, a team that's a family. Because when you turn up on a set, you don't know who you're going to be working with. You might never have met them before. And when it comes to stunts and action, it can sometimes get in the way a little, because you've got to first get to know how each other works. And whereas we thought, right, if we set up a team, start off with teaching them from the base upwards. So start off with safety, then they go into fighting, then they go into all the different skills that we teach. And that way we know that right from the base level, from day one, they've come to us with a skill and a want for getting into stunts anyway. And then we just say, right, well, if you start off as part of the safety, you understand why it's so important, and then we take it on from there, so that as you grow, your first thought on any stunt is, right, is this, how can I help on the safety side?
Yeah. First of all, can you tell everyone at home a little bit about yourself, how you got started, and what exactly the stage door is?
Okay, yeah. So my background originally was performing. So I went to drama school, and then I moved back from London back to Southampton, and I just always wanted to open a fringe venue in the city, just because obviously the amount of them that you've got up in London, there was never anything like that down here. So foolishly, I had this dream about opening a fringe theatre. Because since being at drama school, I kind of moved more towards the production side of things with writing and producing and things like that. And then I went back to uni and did a screenwriting degree. And then I wrote a play for a theatre company that I was doing some work with. So I was kind of more from on that side of the fence rather than on stage. So yeah, I just, when me and my husband got together, I just told him, poor thing, about this dream that I'd had. And we knew the owners of the venue at the time because my husband had a security company and he used to provide their door staff. And I just said, you know, that would be like the perfect sort of venue with the pub downstairs and the theatre upstairs. So we just ended up speaking to the owners, and they were at a point where it had been the Soul Cellar, which had been a live music venue. They opened in about 2000. So it was a well-established grassroots music venue at the time. But I think, you know, like with anything in this industry, it's a hard road. And I think they got to a point where they felt like they needed some sort of new inspiration and a different path, as it were. So we kind of pitched the idea to them and went into the business with them, but invested so that we could refurb it into a fringe theatre and stuff like that. But and then as that journey progressed, they ended up leaving the business and we took over the whole venue. So that was in 2015.
Wow.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is Mr. Darren Tassell, a superb actor, colleague of mine. We've worked together a few times, but also owner and creator of the amazing V show cards, which we're going to talk about in just a little bit. But first of all, Darren, tell us a little bit about yourself, how you got started in the industry for people that don't know you, or to introduce yourself to our followers. So how did you start? Oh, look, there we go. The specs are on already.
Oh no, I'm removing them. I can see you so much better with them on. It's not good.
Charming. Thanks, mate. So, but yeah, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Look, I started acting initially when I was 13. A local theatre group around the corner called the London Bubble. Bitten by the bug, as we all do. But like, do you know what? Life takes different turns, and I sat there for another 30 years wanting to act, dreaming about it, and then just over 4 years ago, I said, do you know what? That's it. I'm not getting any younger. I'm 50's creeping up, so I need to go. I need to go for it now, or forever regret it. So I quit my day job. I had a great day job. I quit my job, and within a month, I had an audition for the Actimel Christmas commercial. Through 3 sets of auditions, I beat 1,200 people to land the lead role as the drill sergeant, training centre, and yeah, it's just kind of took off from there. And you know, considering, like I say, after 3 sets of auditions, winning that job, a month after quitting my job, I knew I'd done the right thing. So I knew from that point it was onwards and upwards, mate. Nice. I used the commercial to get another movie called Cannon in Chinatown Cannon.
Yeah,
which I met the very handsome Sam on.
Well, yeah, that's the beginning of our working career together, or where our paths initially crossed. It's an interesting film. Anyone that hasn't seen it, and I imagine that is pretty much 99.9% of the British public, because it was a Chinese language movie, a comedy action thriller. I wouldn't even know how to describe it, and we were in it.
Fun, wasn't it? It was brilliant fun.
Yeah.
Is there one stunt that you either want to do or you've been really impressed by? You know, you've looked and gone, I want to go at that, or you've looked and gone, that is amazing. There's something sort of taking your breath away as a professional.
I mean, there is so many. Really, really is so many. But I mean, I think the ones that really inspire me that you don't see quite so much of today, because they're just not in sort of what's the word I'm looking for? A mental block. Yeah, there's not trendy. One of the things that inspired me to get into stunts was I used to love things like Fall Guy and anything with Burt Reynolds, Smoking the Bandit, Hooper especially, and some of the car stunts and jumps and stuff and crashes they did in them. I mean, you knew purely because back in the day, these guys had balls of steel, and they were the pioneers. They were like, yeah, let's try it, and then they found out what was safe and what wasn't. So when you see some of the things these guys pulled off back then, they're the guys that sort of inspire me. You look at some of the, I just love all the car stuff in Hooper. You got, especially there's a bit with a Trans Am and they're blowing up a giant tunnel and it just misses, and it's just a perfect time, and it's just so many cool things.
Yeah, brilliant stuff. I love it. I mean, I think I think it's quoted as one of the greatest car chases is the one from Bullet.
Yeah.
Quite apart from the fact that he's got a Mustang, it's like, God, that's a great car chase. Yeah.
Oh, it's amazing. It is amazing.
Yeah.
We give you valuable exposure. We share all your work. We share your updates, your new photos, your new show reels. We share, and our community is growing. So at the moment, we've got something like 3,000 worldwide filmmakers following us. So when we share your work, it's being seen by people in the industry. So we're getting you seen. And also, obviously I spend a lot of time online engaging with everyone on Twitter. So we see a lot of castings and stuff, and I share everything. So if you follow us at V Showcards on Twitter, then whenever I see a casting, I share it. If I see a casting that I think is suitable for one of the V Showcard users, I will tag the V Showcard user in it and post their V Showcard link on there. So,
amazing.
We're trying to give you a lot more than what you'd ever pay for.
It's anecdote time. I wish I hadn't sung then. I really do.
So do we, mate. Carry on.
It must be. I mean, funny, tragic, highlight, whatever. Is there something that I mean, we always do funny ones, but is there a highlight, something that you can, give us an anecdote, Julianne. Put you on the spot immediately.
I think probably the first one that jumps to my mind is since the venue opened, we had quite a lot of burlesque shows that were hosted by a performer called Joe Black, who was in this year's Drag Race, RuPaul's Drag Race. And they're an amazing performer, but they would host the show, sing and play the piano throughout, and then invite all the different burlesque and cabaret performers on stage. And there was a time when they were coming back out on stage from the dressing room, and they had a very tight sort of long dress with a sort of small hoop. And there's a few steps up to the back of the stage, and they just absolutely stacked it. And it was honestly, the crowd roared, and I don't know how the lighting and sound technician didn't sort of fall off his stool, because it went down an absolute treat. And then it was posted on sort of various social media for quite a while with the performer sort of they handled it very well, and the audience absolutely loved it. So a funny sort of unfortunate falling over. There's been quite a few people falling onto the stage, but that's probably the funniest one.
I've now got several Bollywood films under my belt.
Brilliant.
I've been in worldwide cinemas. It was an absolute box office smash. It's called Sajan Singh Rangroot. And again, look, that's just come from a connection. That's come from networking with people. So, that launched my Bollywood career. While I was in India filming that, I was hired for another Bollywood film. And then those who hired me for another Bollywood film then hired me for another. And it's just gone on. And I now have several under my belt. And it's all thanks to networking on the first feature film I did. So networking... I can't tell you how important networking is, self-marketing.
Oh, yeah.
And that's what V Showcards are all about.
People who are watching on YouTube will be very aware, but our listeners at home on the podcast won't necessarily. You've got a guest stood behind you. Do you want to introduce us to your friend?
Oh, that's Uncle Bob.
Uncle Bob, of course.
Yeah, everyone knows Uncle Bob.
Better known to most as, and I'm either going to impress you or you're going to tell me off, the T101? Is that...
It's T800.
It's 800, mate.
Oh,
almost.
So for anyone not watching, Mark's got basically a replica Terminator stood behind him.
Yeah, we're just film geeks at the end of the day. I mean, that's why we love working in the industry. We just collect bits, and that's just a small proportion of what we got. It's just crazy. We just mad on it.
I'd forgotten about Uncle Bob.
Yeah, me too, mate. I tell you what, don't know about you, but I'm really enjoying this. It's making me thirsty, though. I think it's time for another beer.
That is a cracking idea, mate.
Right, gonna grab one. Won't be a minute.
Well, hang on, Drew. You do realise we're still recording?
Well, I better be quick then. There's some good stuff to come, and I don't want to miss it. I'm back. Did I miss anything?
No, you're just in time, mate. Here we go.
I mean, when we teach our team about car stunts, the first thing we teach them, we sort of do it in 3 levels. We do proximity driving first, so that we know that you can drive safely and not hit cameras. I mean, safely, quickly, a load of cone stuff, and you can just do quick camera passes and handbraking up to the camera. So it's all proximity stuff initially. Then it's trick stuff where you're doing your drifting and your donuts and handbraking into a box and things like that. And then the stunt side of it is the side that we can really only practice when we've either got an excess of vehicles we want to try and sort out, or we end up on a set and they've given us some vehicles to practice with. So because the cars that we practice with, we don't want to damage them because we practice with them a lot. So we practice more the trick stuff, but whereas the stunt stuff, you're jumping or you're pipe ramp jumping or you're smashing into someone, and it's, I mean, that's what I sort of class as the stunt side of driving. So yeah, I mean, we've got a lot of guys that we put in as proximity drivers or as trick drivers, but quite a few of them will go, you know what, I don't really want to jump a car through the air and land it on its roof. And who can blame them? Because it's, I mean, at the end of the day, no matter what safety you put in, every time I've done it, you're in a 2-ton washing machine. You know what I mean? So you do come out of it, you mean a little bit as if you've been shook around.
Yeah.
A bit shaken up.
Have you got a sort of something funny, something serious, anything, a little story that you can, you know?
Yeah, look, look, you know,
there are loads, I'm sure.
We know what the film industry's like, and Bollywood is just legendary. We you know, working on a Bollywood war film, health and safety, mate, at the door. So we was in the trench, you know, filming this scene, and they're waiting for the FX guys to come through with the smoke machines, not turning up. So they're like, don't worry. What we do, we just grabbed as much hay as we can, threw it in the trench next to us, and just set it on fire. So we was actually in the trench, all going, and it's all real. Wow. But then on top of that as well, right, there's 50 of us running across a field to jump into the trench at the end of the field. And we've all got guns and bayonets and things. And obviously as the drill sergeant, I lead everyone into the battle. So I'm at the front, I'm happy. But then when I've landed in the trench and I'm looking back and I see all these people jumping down with bayonets, and some of the bayonets were foam, obviously. Some were real, and I was just cringing. I was just pleading for someone not to land on a bayonet. It was
brilliant,
but it's so much fun. It is so much fun.
That's excellent.
Yeah, no, it was great, and those online shows that we did were, you know, fantastic way of engaging with our audiences and our performers, but you know, trying to keep a sort of community spirit alive. And obviously it did help fundraise. I mean, you know, not massive amounts by any means, but definitely contributed to the costs that we had at the time. And I just think, you know, just knowing that those people were thinking about the venue, but also maybe giving people a bit of an outlet to perform because they weren't able to, you know, get up on stage and do anything, but also facilitating that and maybe reaching people that we might not have done before. That was just really nice. And we did a few like online live music gigs and stuff that were streamed live from the venue. But again, with that, you know, with all of that online stuff, as I'm sure you know, with your podcast and stuff, comes challenges, like technical challenges that no one knows how to handle, and internet and Facebook and all the rest of it, you know. So it's quite, I think when you're used to doing live stuff, when that's taken out of your hands, it's actually more terrifying than doing, having an audience in and hoping for the best. Like when you're online, you're just at somebody's mercy. It's like
you have absolutely no control. My wife has a show that she put online, and it was great. You sit there, you're doing the Zoom show, and you see sort of one or two, and you think, oh, that's a bit disappointing. And then someone else doing, and you go, oh God. And then you're going, I'm controlling this.
Yeah.
It's terrifying to think that, with a push of the button, you get all, boom, they disappear.
Yeah.
Oh shit.
Yeah.
It's great.
Yeah.
Terrifying.
Scary. But I find all the technical side actually to theatre quite scary. Like if I'm standing in the tech box in the venue and someone tells me to do something to a light or raise a fader or whatever, I just start getting nervous. I'm not
I've just got your battery is running low appeared on the front of my computer. I'm going to have to go and get my power lead.
You need to get your power lead.
You're
I'm going to get the power lead.
Useless, mate.
I know. I'm sorry. I'm going to leave that way, and then I'll come back in that way with my power lead in a moment, and you're going to hear me scrabbling around. This is live podcast.
It almost looks like we're just go and do it. Go on, get out of it. It almost looks like we're hurry up. It almost looks like we're planning this, and we are absolutely not. What sort of things have you had to adjust, and how have you overcome the fact that we have been in lockdown, but work has still had to carry on in certain areas?
Yeah. Well, overnight we'd gone from having 3 productions in pre-production we were getting ready for, to COVID lockdown number 1 and everything being put on the back burner. So straight away, the stunt work was drying up. But the problem is, if we stop training entirely, then we let our skill base lapse, and the good habits of safety, etc., are no longer habitual. So initially we thought, right, how are we going to get around this? How do we carry on? Because look, we've got a training unit in Banbury, we've still got to pay rent on, and overnight we had no income. So from the martial arts tuition as well, because we teach martial arts in there as well as all the stunt stuff. So all of that dried up overnight. And luckily, it's down to sort of the team, the backup we have, the family that we have, that we all sort of found a solution between us and thought, right, let's see how we can get through this. We've got to do this. And we found the fact that with elite sportsmen and people whose jobs involve training, for instance, professional footballers and golfers, etc., if they stopped for a year, what would they be like if they came back after a year? So we had to sort of run under that guise. So we were constantly getting everyone the COVID tests, and we were doing all the things that we had to do. We were using a track and trace. We were taking temperatures. We were very conscious about who we were near. We basically set up a training bubble with our team, which was really cool. We still wore masks when we trained, and where we could, there were certain things like we just changed certain principles. Like when you're rigging someone up in a vest for wire work, normally you'd be face to face and you'd be doing up the buckles and looking down it. We just go off to the side and keep a mask on and don't face them. And it was just small things, but a lot of small things. And constant gels, and just doing everything we could. And it worked, because not a single person in the team ended up with COVID.
Drew and I talk each week. We give an update on what we've been up to this week. So first of all, what have you been doing this week? What's your week involved? For those out there, what has the life of an actor who also runs a casting tool, what have you been up to this week?
Well, look, I obviously run V-Show cards full time at home, and it's from morning till night. So that keeps me pretty busy. I've had two big auditions this week as well from my agent, Fruit.
Nice.
Which is, very exciting. I spent the last couple of days working on them and doing those and sending them off. I'm happy with them. Fingers crossed. My son is also an actor, and he has the same agent. He's a fantastic agent, and he's just got an audition for a very big television program.
Nice.
I can't name anything at the moment, but we're gonna be working on that over the weekend. And obviously, look, on top of that, I look after my children full time as well. So,
so you've got a real life as well, then. You're not just this incredible online guru.
I'm not this online presence. No, I've got a real life. You know, for the last year, I've been homeschooling 3 boys, as well as launching a business, as well as finding castings, as well as, you know, people who have been joining us. I've also been editing them show reels and stuff. So listen, my day is packed from the moment I get up until the moment I go to bed.
That's brilliant, because you've answered my next question, because I was going to say, so obviously that's what you've been up to. What have you got coming up? So essentially what you've got coming up is you're going to have some sleep, I would imagine. That sounds like something that you haven't done for a while that you might need to catch up on.
It sounds like a wonderful thing. I've heard about this. I've heard about this sleep concept. I don't know if it's for me.
You must have one story that sticks in the back of your mind that goes, wow.
Yeah. Well, yeah. There is a funny story.
You said funny.
No, it's we used to do quite a lot of adverts for Sony and Movies for Men and things like that. Via a friend of ours who was a director, and we were doing one for the Crime Channel, and it was basically I had to run in, and a woman shoots me, and I go flying through a glass window. Now, in movies, sometimes they'll use the fake glass. When it breaks, it looks like it's fake glass, and also filming through it can create problems depending on how well it's been cast. Because if it's cast, like the old sugar glass was very, very sort of wavy, but the modern polymers are a lot better. But there's still, it doesn't quite look like glass if you want to film through it and actually see the action as it happens. So they wanted to film it through the glass. So it had to be real glass. In which case it has to be toughened glass, because if you use normal glass, obviously it will break into big shards and it's really dangerous. Whereas safety toughened glass will break into little cubes. So that's what we use, but it's safety glass for a reason. You can run at it and it's going nowhere. So what we have to do is we have to put we get the VFX guy. We brought a good friend of ours in to put the little detonators on the corners of the glass, the basic little squibs with it that shoot a nail into the glass and pre-fracture it as you're going through it. And we'd been doing all the tests, and we got all the glass set up, and he's done all the electrical tests and tested all the squibs out. Everything was bang on. What we didn't realize was that at some points it was a big old house with thick walls, and it had like internet repeaters in every sort of room pretty much. And we didn't realize that even at some points they affect other bits. They weren't affecting anything up until that point. But as soon as we went for the first take, I've run into the room, got shot by this woman, thrown myself at this pane of glass. My mate Matt pressed the button, and the internet senders have literally just blocked it, and I've hit this window like a pigeon. It's just gone boom, bounced off this glass, and I was sort of looking back thinking, wow. But second one was a dream. He'd done that wired, because had to take the wireless element out of it because we knew it was being interfered with. But yeah, second one went like a dream. But it was literally like I felt like one of those pigeons, just like that.
Is there footage of that somewhere? Have you got a copy of it?
Probably is somewhere. I did try and get it. I'm gonna have to try and get it because it was funny.
Amazing.
I'm just so glad that we've met and someone has put a positive spin on everything kicking off again. And it's nice because Sam and I have been variously grumbling or being positive about the future, but it's so nice to meet someone else that's going, yes, we got something to look forward to.
No, it's great to be on the show and talk to you both, and I think that's the thing, isn't it? Everyone's had a very challenging year, so let's forget that, but appreciate stuff going forward and make sure that we make the most out of everything.
Yay,
of course, absolutely. And that's why we started out doing this. We wanted to make the general public aware that just because things have stopped doesn't mean it will all just pick straight back up again without any effort. But at the same time, we need this support throughout. So when we do come back, we can come back and be bigger and better than ever. And
sure.
The insight you've given us today just shows that it has been a massive battle, but there are lots of people out there who are fighting this battle and won't let it stop. They won't give in. And we will come out the other side as performers, as venues, as techies, as whatever, just feeling so much more positive and just we'll get back into the life that we knew and hopefully even surpass it. So that's what we're waiting for. We need the support of the general public. We need people out there to help us through this and to be there when we do come back. It's as much as supporting your small local businesses who are shops or whatever. This is the same sort of thing. It's not just a case of, right, the West End's open, let's all go to the massive shows. Look at your local venues as well and really do support them too, because you never know, you might find a gem like you will with the Stage Door. So
yeah. And I think, just to encourage people to, know that it is safe. Venues are putting in everything in place to make it a safe environment for people to come and visit. So don't be put off and come and see it or enjoy a bit of entertainment again.
What a lovely way to end it. It really was a lovely way to end, wasn't it, mate?
Sure was, mate. Sure was. Julianne was definitely said what we've all been thinking. Get out there and enjoy some entertainment again. Yeah, it was brilliant to have her and Mark and Darren joining us in season 1. So we're sending massive thanks to them for being such amazing guests.
Yeah, thank you, guys. And thank you to everyone out there listening and watching. We hope you've enjoyed this special highlights episode. Don't forget, it's really easy to go back and enjoy our previous shows in full. There's loads of great stuff we didn't manage to include that you'll want to relive. Or if you're listening for the first time, this is just a small selection of the fun we have when we're joined by guests. So please do check out all our previous episodes.
So, Sam, season 1 is nearly at an end, but we do have one more special episode next week that everyone is going to want to tune in for.
You are not wrong there, mate. So it is bye for now, but we'll see you all next week. Cheers.
Ooh. Cheers, everyone.
Thank you for tuning in. We hope you've enjoyed this special highlights episode of Drewling Samantics.
If you have, then make sure you go and watch all our previous episodes in full for even more fun and interesting content. Please consider subscribing to our channel too, and you'll get notified every time a new video is released.
Don't forget, we're also available as audio only. Just search Drewling Samantics in any good podcast app. And we'd love your support on social media as well. We're on Facebook, Instagram and Twitter, and all our links and handles are on screen now.
We love welcoming new followers and subscribers, so please share with your family and friends, and we'll be eternally grateful. Stay safe, and we'll see you next time.